On December 23, 1783, the Continental Congress convened in Annapolis, Maryland. At 12 noon, in a speech during which his voice reportedly faltered and sank with emotion, General George Washington resigned from the Continental Army. In a sign of respect for congressional authority, America's national hero bowed to the body of legislators. A citizen again, Washington returned to his beloved Mount Vernon just in time for Christmas. He was America's Cincinnatus, so named for the ancient Roman who left his farm to lead Rome's republic, only to freely lay down his power and return to his life of farming after service to his country. Now that Washington had led America to victory over Britain, he thought his time of public duty was at an end. It was, but not for long. From May to September 1787, George Washington presided over the Constitutional Convention. Less than 2 years later, on February 4, 1789, America's uncontested first citizen was elected her first president. One of Washington's immediate challenges was to establish the authority and legitimacy of the federal government. Having just emerged from a period of a weak central government under the Articles of Confederation, the new Constitution needed to prove its efficacy. Washington assembled a cabinet of exceptionally talented individuals, including Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury and Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State. Hamilton's financial program was a cornerstone of Washington's domestic policy. It included the assumption of state debts by the federal government, the creation of a national bank, and the imposition of excise taxes. These measures aimed to stabilize the national economy, establish credit worthiness, and foster a sense of national identity. Hamilton's excise tax on the production of whiskey, however, sparked the Whiskey Rebellion in western Pennsylvania and severely tested federal authority. At the peak of the rebellion, some 7,000 rebels gathered near Pittsburgh, ready to attack the city. Washington personally led nearly 13,000 troops to suppress the rebellion. This was the first and only time a sitting president led troops into battle. In foreign policy, Washington pursued a course of neutrality, a prudent strategy for a young nation still vulnerable to European conflicts. The French Revolution and the subsequent wars between France and Great Britain presented a delicate balancing act for the new American Republic. While many Americans sympathized with France, Washington understood that entanglement in European affairs could jeopardize America's fragile independence. His proclamation of neutrality helped America avoid such jeopardy. The Treaty of San Lorenzo with Spain, negotiated by Washington's appointee Thomas Pinckney, secured American navigation rights on the Mississippi River and established the southern boundary of the United States. In his farewell address, a letter published in September of 1796, America's first president warned against the dangers of political factions, excessive partisan spirit, and foreign entanglements. He emphasized the importance of national unity, a balanced budget, and an adherence to the Constitution. Perhaps the most important of all President Washington's actions was his voluntary decision to step down after serving 2 terms. He could have been reelected and remained president for the rest of his life. By not doing so, Washington set an enduring precedent for the peaceful transfer of power, reinforcing the idea of a republic accountable to its citizens. Following in Washington's footsteps, every president, with the exception of Franklin Roosevelt, limited his time in office to 1 or 2 terms. In the wake of FDR's 4 elections, the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, officially limiting presidential terms. Twice, Washington was called to national duty, first as commander of the Army, then as the first president. Twice he succeeded. After each success, he relinquished power voluntarily and resumed his private life at Mount Vernon. During the Revolutionary War, King George III reportedly asked Benjamin West, the Pennsylvania-born artist who painted the monarch's portrait several times, what Washington would do if America became independent. West answered that the commander of the Continental Army would likely return to private life. To which the king replied, if he did, he would be the greatest man in the world.